Welcome to Your Life Story, a space to explore the journey from survival to authenticity. I'm Sajine, and here we dive into the raw truths of breaking free from the expectations we've grown up with, rediscovering our voices, and driving after life's challenges. But this isn't just about my story, it's about life. From relationships and self-discovery to the messy, beautiful questions we all face. No topic is off limits here. So if you're ready to embrace courage, healing, and living life on your own terms, you're in the right place. Let's connect. Let's grow. Welcome to the journey. Before we dive in, a quick disclaimer. This podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. I'm not a licensed therapist, counselor, or a medical professional, and the content shared here is based on the personal experiences and insights. If you're facing significant challenges, please seek the support of a qualified professional. Remember, your journey is unique, and you deserve the care and guidance that's right for you. Welcome. I am happy to have you here with me again. This one is an interesting podcast today. I was thinking about it the other day as I'm trying to learn how to heal from all my wounds and stuff like that since I was a child. Yes, because I'm a very analytical person. I like to find the root cause issues of things and then move forward, fixing every little part so that way when I think of the things that I'm facing today, I now know why I'm going through it. So today's title is When Friends Aren't Really Friends, Spotting Control, Setting Boundaries, and Rising Above. It's amazing what we can go through, and I just want to let you know that these talks that I have on here is for healing, empowerment, and truth-telling. It's important, So I have a question. Have you ever had a friend who made you feel chosen, only to realize later it was about control, not friendship? That happened to me in 4th grade, and it shaped the way I understood friendship for years. Friendship is supposed to be about the love and the respect that you can share. But many of us learn through pain that not everyone who calls themselves a friend is really one. So I want to tell you a little bit about it and how I came to this conclusion of this started early on. Not only did it start in my childhood, but then it trickled through to my education. I used to be in a school where I was one of the intellectual popular ones for so long, from kindergarten to 4th grade. But mid-4th grade, my parents decided to move to a whole other area. I used to live in the city, and they were more accepting of, the diversity of, ethnicity. And I don't know. I felt like they were a lot more, I guess you would say, mature in that sense. The sad thing was my parents decided to move us to a house actually out in the suburbs because they wanted, better things in life. The sad thing is when I decided to go to school, it was during the winter. I'll never forget it. I was so scared because I didn't know what to expect. And I was sad because I was missing all my friends. And it didn't make it any better because when I actually got to school, I sat down and instead of being warmed and welcomed, I was just told, oh, okay, well, go sit down at your desk. Your desk is there. And I was so scared. I kept my jacket on all day. And you can imagine how people then treated me. People were like, oh my gosh, I heard the whispers. Oh, she won't take her jacket off. She has her jacket still on. and they made me feel so unwelcome. I have never felt so ostracized in my life. And so it took me a while. And lo and behold, there was one girl who decided to befriend me. And I thought to myself, what a cool person, because she is popular, she's kind, and now I have a friend. So I started flourishing and I started feeling more welcome. But there was always something that just didn't make sense, you know? And I was just like, well, maybe it's just me. And I feel like that's something that we all need to know, is it always comes back with a gut feeling of when you start questioning yourself for other people on how they treat you. So it came down to how she controlled all my time. You know, I always had to be over at her house for hours on end. As soon as the lights went off, you know, the city lamp lights went on, it was time for me to go home. But that whole time I had to spend it with her while she showed me all her jewelry, all her new clothes, shoes, everything brand new that she was receiving all the time, while she would say, oh, what did you get? Or I see that you're wearing the same thing over and over again. And sad that I had to explain myself. Oh yeah, that's what I have. And she would make sure that I would see everything she had. She would model everything that she had because she wanted to make me feel inferior. I've came to the conclusion. The thing is, when I was young, I just thought it was cool, but something still tugged at me, and it was sad. You know, there was times that even at school, I had to be there all the time, talking to her, playing at the playground. It was constant. And whether it was over the phone or even it came down to the point where I had to pick her up from school. And then we would walk to school together. And you think, oh, why would that be an issue? No, she would make me walk a mile backwards from school to pick her up and then walk back to school, which I was doing a double walk. Mind you, I had to run to go pick her up and then make it back up. And the thing is, I live so close to the school. One day my mother was like, honey, why are you going and picking her up? Why can't she walk alone and then come pick you up? And then you guys walk to school together. And I thought, you know what? That's right. That's how it should be. Oh, big no. It came to the point that she attacked me so bad. She kept telling me how horrible a person I was, that how dare I couldn't go and pick her up. She gaslit me so bad, you know, and I was like, okay, well, fine for a while. And then it came down to summertime where I had to be constantly at her house from the morning till, like I said, till around 6 p.m. And that whole time we would be riding our bicycles or getting sodas and candies at the gas station. But I could not have my own time to myself. And I could never have her come over to my house. No, I had to be at her house at all hours of the day. The sad thing is, and this is why I think it's important, that parents should always check their children to see their well-being, because I remember many times when I had to be told that, oh, maybe you should, become my brother's girlfriend because he likes you. And in my head, I thought to myself, he is probably 6 or 7 years older than me. Why would I be going out with this individual? He'd always be trying to invite me to ride a bullet bike with him. And I was like, no, I do not like that. It creeped me out. And then there was times when the father was inebriated and he would say some really horrible things to me. I remember there was a time when he almost came to slap my derriere, and the daughter was like No, don't you dare. Caught him midway before he was about to do that. And it just mortified me. I was scared to be around. And the thing is, even the sister was one of those ones that would walk around the house without their clothing. And she thought, well, it was mostly the top. And she thought it was just cool because, she's the bigger daughter and she can do whatever she wants. And I would have to close my eyes because I didn't want to see any of that. Mother was always out on her own, smoking up a storm. And it was just terrible. I now believe that I shouldn't have been exposed to many of those things. I should have just stayed home with my family. And if she wanted to spend time, she could have. But, an hour tops and that's it. Why? Because I believe I could have found other friendships that were real friendships. But no, it was her way of keeping major control over me. And then there was, I should have seen it, There was the times when she would go out to amusement parks and I would find out later. And when she would go with her other friends, and when I found out and I actually called her out on it, she would tell me, oh, don't worry, you wouldn't even have enjoyed it. All we did was fight. But yet when I would see the other girls, they would talk about all the wonderful times that they spent together. So basically, she was ashamed of being with me. But when her friends were not available, then she would pick me up as her, I guess, her friend, so called, because she could control me and tell me what to do at all times of the day. And that's why I believe it's important that parents teach their children that they are enough, they're sufficient. They don't need all this acknowledgement. And I believe that's why families need to be strong and healthy, because then you teach your children that it's okay to be alone, and because, predators and opportunists will always be out there, whether they're narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths. They want to just consume your time. And you don't get to live. You don't get to try new things. Why? Because they consume every single moment of you. But I'll never forget the day that I told her no anymore. I'm picking her up. And she surely made me pay for it. Then on, we had no more friendship. She would attack me, smear my name. She even went to the point to steal one of my friends. And she took her away from me forever. And even when I would talk to her, just to see how it was going, she surely made me know that I was never welcome into her circle. And why? Because she was taking me through the discard phase where I was no longer somebody of value to her. And it upset me because I spent so many years giving the best days of my life to somebody who I thought was a friend. It wasn't. And the thing is I could have found other friends, but amazingly, she surely made it a point to smear my name to every girl or boy so nobody would ever pay attention to me ever again. It was cruel, but do I regret it? No. Why? Because I believe this individual was so toxic and dangerous that she would have destroyed my life even to this day. And I'm glad I didn't. But that's why I believe it's important to teach your children to be better. Because the thing is if you notice it, it goes into patterns. It comes from families, friendships, comes from churches, work, many of these places. And this is the things you need to see is red flags of toxic or narcissistic friends. They punish you for saying no. For you saying no, sorry. They only call when they need something. They isolate you or make you feel lucky to have them. They make you sacrifice way more than they ever would. So what should we do? We need to put boundaries in place. When someone asks you to go out of your way, pause and ask, does this honor me or drain me? I'm telling you, I was drained all the time. And It's sad that it took me so many years to figure it out, that I always was the strong individual, but because of how much they gaslit me and told me that I was so lucky to have them. And that's why I believe when you're lonely, that is the worst thing, to go to certain people, because they will try everything to drain you from it. If it drains you, practice saying, that doesn't work for me, but I hope you can find another solution. If they push harder, I have already given my answer. Please respect it. If they guilt trip you, I value friendships that respect both of us. This doesn't feel mutual. And yes, they will come and attack you, and you need to be strong and still walk away no matter how much it hurts. So I'll give you some tips for asking what you want in friendships. Always say, I'd love if we could plan something together that works for the both of us. Can we alternate who drives or who does many different things? It's good. I want a friendship where both show up for each other. Are you open to that? There was times when I remember I didn't have a car because it was one of those things that there was no money for me to have. But she did have it. And I'll never forget, she did come back, because they always do. But this time it was different, because she was no longer that friend that I knew. Now she had picked up some really bad habits. She started smoking a lot. And so whenever she would take me in the car, I remember I would have to lower the window because she wanted to smoke. And she would just tell me, oh, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'm down to 2 packets only a day. And I was like, what? Mom, what do you mean 2 packets a day? She also picked up drinking. And so I'm glad I left, because there was no way that I was going to be in a vehicle where she was smoking. I don't know if she ever drank in the car, but still, I didn't feel comfortable with that. Why? Because I chose a different path. I didn't think that alcohol or cigarettes was part of my life. And that's okay, because like I said, everybody has the right to choose what they want. But as far as for me, I was like, no, I'm not having any of that. And I'm glad, it's interesting. Because mind you, she did try to help me learn how to drive in her car. And when I didn't know how to, I remember she came at me. And it's scary to learn with these type of individuals, because they will make you feel so inferior to how they do things, and I don't think that's something that you should have in your life. Mind you, there was other people in my life. It was so hard. I'll never forget it, being treated like I was some poor little person while they paraded with everything that they received. That was so degrading, in my life. And the thing is, it also happened in my work, in many jobs. They surely made me give up the best years of my life for them. And they always promised me that I would get a promotion, a raise, or whatnot, and that there would always be growth. And then at the very end, they would never give it to me. Multiple places did that for me. And it was sad, because they always demand so much loyalty to them, but they never give you anything in return. The things that they promised, they never gave, and it happened to me at church as well. Many things they promised that they would, the whole, we're a family thing. We've heard that at work. Now we're hearing it at church. They're like, oh yeah, you're my best friend. I'll never forget that. How many of the people told me at church that they were my best friends. But in reality, when the truth came out, they never were there for me. And it really upset me. And even later on, they would still try to communicate to see how I was doing. No, they weren't. They didn't want that. So let's give you some journaling prompts. I'm going to give you 5 of them. And write it down. Answer it as truthfully as you can to help you grow. Number 1, who in my life feels like a true friend and why? Number 2, where have I been giving more than I'm receiving? 3, what boundary am I most afraid to set? 4, what would a safe mutual friendship look like for me? 5, what is one no I've been holding back that I need to say? I think these are very important. Write them down. Think about it. Write them down. If you have to do it every day, that's fine, because why? It's good when we're growing. Okay, I'm going to give you a 5-minute guided meditation because I love these. These are the good things in our lives. So now I would like all of you, to close your eyes. Breathe deeply. Imagine your younger self sitting in the classroom, job, or church, just like I did. But I'm going to do this for me. You do it for what you have. With my coat on, nervous and alone. Walk toward your younger self. Place a hand on their shoulder. Whisper, you are safe. You are valuable. You don't need to earn friendship. Breathe in. I deserve respect. Breathe out. I release control and manipulation. Picture yourself surrounded by warm light, attracting only true, safe, mutual friends. And I like to close with, I honor my boundaries. I honor my worth. I only welcome relationships that honor me back. Sit there and relax. Repeat the things towards yourself again if you need be. Know that you are enough. Know that your worth has always been there. Repeat to yourself, you are safe. It's so important to know that you're valuable. And start opening your eyes, wiggling your toes, moving your arms, and come to know not all friends are really friends, and that's okay. What matters is that you know your worth and you set your boundaries. You don't need to stay in toxic friendships. You can rise above, and you can choose relationships that truly nourish you. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it today. And don't forget to let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know if there's something that you would like me to talk about, and I can do that. Let's help others. Bring them to this safe space. Let them know this is for healing. This is for all of us. I hope it gave you something to think about, feel, or explore on your journey. for you. Know that there is friends out there for you. Let's be our friend first. And for my Christian people, Jesus and God are your friends. When we're strong and we value our boundaries and our authentic selves, we can start choosing who we want in our lives. Thank you for listening to me, and we'll see you next Sunday.